So, a dominant 7 flat 9 contains a fully diminished 7th chord inside of it, right? And the cool thing is, through that, you end up getting a lot of other chords, like basically different inversions of the same diminished 7th, which in turn can be used as a nice little substitution for that particular dominant 7th chord. So, stick around and let's talk about that. Let's take a C dominant 7 flat 9. Now my notes here are gonna be C, E, G, B flat and D flat. Okay, C being my root, E being my third, G being my fifth, B flat being my flat seventh, and D flat being my flat 9. Now if we quite literally just remove the root out of this, right, the E, G, B flat and D flat by itself happens to be an E diminished 7th chord, which you can play like this. Here, this is one voicing first. So you got E, you got the flat 5, B flat, you got the double flat 7, that's your D flat, and then you got the flat 3, G on top. Okay. Now this matters because the dominant tension is already diminished in nature, like as in like it sounds sort of diminished. There's a tritone interval in there as well within a dominant chord. And in this particular case, the flat 9 happens to be the key tension that we're working with. And really the main reason for all this tension that we're creating in our playing in general. So when we remove the root of this particular C7 flat 9 chord, we are exposing the inner structure of it, right? Which in turn gives us a lot more interesting chordal harmony to work with. And more than anything, this gives us a lot of substitution power. So yeah, or like one chord can technically be substituted with 4 diminished 7th chords now. Now the reason this particular E diminished 7th works as a substitute for the C altered is because we are keeping the guide tones and the tension preserved, right? We're just removing the root. And because we have the guide tones and the tension reserved, because of that, we are still managing to get the sound of that particular altered dominant chord, right? So let's check it out a little bit. Now C altered is, it can be used to resolve to an F major 7 chord. Okay, so 5-1 relationship. So let's say instead of that C altered, I now want to resolve to F major 7 using this E diminished 7th chord. So E diminished 7th to F major 7 versus C dominant 7 flat 9 to F major 7. So as you can hear, it sounds pretty similar. It still has the characteristic sound of that altered dominant, but you're substituting that altered dominant with a diminished 7th chord. Now, a fully diminished 7th chord is symmetric. So that means every inversion of that diminished 7th chord is going to be the same shape, but a minor third apart, right? Because each chord tone of that particular chord is a minor third apart. So now my chord tones for the E diminished 7th is E, G, B flat and D flat. So to simplify things, you can really just assume that E diminished 7th, G diminished 7th, B flat diminished 7th and D flat diminished 7th are all substitutions of the C dominant 7 flat 9 or altered in general. So let's try that out. C altered to F major 7th. Okay. Now let's say E diminished 7th to F major 7th. G diminished 7th to F major 7th. B flat diminished 7th to F major 7th. D flat diminished 7th to F major 7. So as you can see, each and every one of these diminished 7th chords really resolve beautifully to that tonic. Now in this particular video, I'm using the F major 7th as my tonic. You can of course resolve to minor 7 chords as well. I'll just do a quick demonstration of that. E diminished 7th to F minor 7. Okay. G diminished 7 to F minor 7th. B flat diminished 7 to F minor 7th. D flat diminished 7 to F minor 7. Right? So works beautifully. And it's because most tonic chords are either major 7 or minor 7 or some form of an major or minor 7. Usually not a dominant 7. Usually a dominant 7th is more of a dominant function chord. So it has a strong tendency of resolving to some kind of a tonic. Now here's a big harmonic revelation, okay? I want you to observe something, okay? You have a flat 9 diminished 7th. So the flat 9 for C is D flat. What if we apply the same concept of taking 4 notes a minor third apart to a dominant 7 flat 9 and use that as a substitution for the C dominant 7 flat 9? For instance, let's say D flat, right? We have a flat 9 diminished 7th available to us for the C altered. So if the C altered is half step below the D flat, then technically the E diminished 7th, the G diminished 7th, as well as the B flat diminished 7th will also give us a dominant 7 flat 9 a half step below each of them. So that means below this E diminished 7th, I have E flat dominant 7 flat 9. Below the G diminished 7th, I have G flat dominant 7 flat 9 or F sharp dominant 7 flat 9, however you would like to look at it. Below the B flat diminished 7th, we have an A dominant 7 flat 9, right? So now let's say I am substituting this C dominant 7 with any of these 4 dominant 7 chords, okay? So again, C dominant 7 flat 9 to F major 7th. Next was E dominant 7 flat 9 to F major 7. Next was G flat dominant 7 flat 9 to F major 7. Then we have A dominant 7 flat 9 to F major 7. So they all sound pretty nice, right? I'm just gonna move around the fretboard using this 5-1 resolution, and I'm gonna use these different substitutions to just create more of a nice harmonic movement that you can always use in solo guitar improvisation or in composition in general. Now, when it comes to the application section, what I would suggest is the same way I'm going between the 5-1 resolution, so C to F, you can always transpose it to different keys, apply it over jazz standards, or apply it over whatever kind of music you'd like to, you know. It's a sound. Experiment with your creativity, you know. Next thing you can look into is a little bit of a walking diminished movement. Like I'll just give you a basic little riff and then you can maybe do your own thing with that, right? So here's a C dominant 7 to E flat diminished 7. Now what I'm doing is with the bass movement, I'm doing 1, 5, 3, 5. Or you can even do 1, 5, 3, flat 7. So this can become like a bit of a nice little idea that you can use in your comping sections. And of course, you can always use these diminished 7th chords or any other diminished 7th chord to resolve to a target chord. Like for instance, let's say if I play a 1, 2, 3, 2, 5. Okay. So in F, that's going to be F major 7th, G minor 7th, A minor 7, G minor 7 to C dominant 7, right? What if I approach each of them with a diminished 7th from a half step below? I'll keep the F major 7 intact. So then we have G flat diminished 7th, resolve into G minor 7, A flat diminished 7th, resolve into A minor 7th, G flat diminished 7, resolve into G minor 7th, and then B diminished 7th, resolving to C Now here I'm using a C dominant 7 sus, and then you can use E diminished 7 to resolve back to F, and that automatically adds a lot of depth into your playing, right? Now when it comes to fretboard application, I think 3 kinds of voicings are really nice to know. Number 1 is gonna be a voicing on the top 4 strings. So let's say if I'm thinking E diminished 7, I have an option right here, right? So on the top 4 strings, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, 2nd fret, 3rd fret. So similarly, a minor third up will give you G diminished 7th, another minor third up is gonna give you B flat diminished 7th, another minor third is gonna give you D flat diminished 7th, and then go up another minor third and you end up with your E diminished 7th. So already covered the top 4 strings. Next is gonna be a drop 2 version. That is what I showed you first. So we have root, flat 5, natural 6 or double flat 7, and flat 3. Okay, so here's E diminished 7th, a minor third below, D flat diminished 7th, a minor third below, B flat diminished 7th, and if you want to go up here, like a minor third up from the original E, we got a G diminished 7th, another minor third up here, B flat diminished 7th, another minor third up, D flat diminished 7th. Another voicing I like knowing is a shell part, a shell version of this particular one. Let's say if I'm doing the B flat diminished 7. So I got B flat, the double flat 7, and the flat 3rd. So similar to the other voicings, go down a minor third, you get G. Go up a minor third, you get D flat. Up another minor third, E. Okay. So yeah, always nice to know. These would be the 3 shapes that I would say is gonna be the most useful, whether you are doing chord melody improvisation, composition, arrangements, or you're just comping for somebody, or you're just trying to visualize the whole thing in general over the fretboard. This is gonna be great. Now for improvisational application, I would say target dominant guide tones. Okay, so like the dominant 7 guide tones. You can arpeggiate the diminished structure. For instance, let's say if I'm doing G diminished 7. So you can always do that, right? Yeah, I'm not really arpeggiating it either here. It's more of like patternizing it, You can approach the chord tones within them. And that creates some pretty cool ideas in general. So yeah, just leading tones to target them, that's all. And then you can always use this to superimpose like similar ideas. You can use to superimpose melodically. Let's say you're going from F major to G minor, okay? That can work, right? So to land on that G minor, I'm using a G diminished 7th arpeggio. So yeah, some beautiful ideas can really come out of it. Okay, quick summary. Before that, actually, if you have come this far, thank you for watching the video. If you like what you see, if you like what you hear, consider subscribing to the channel, consider liking the video. If you have any further questions, feel free to comment down below. If you want to support this channel does not run on any sponsorships. You can go to my Bandcamp page below. I have a link to it below. You can buy my music there. I upload it in high quality. Purely improvised music, etc. Just stuff that comes out of my head from time to time. I just put it up there. So if you want to support this channel, that's one way. Another way is I am a full-time music educator. So if you want to learn this stuff and a lot of other cool stuff, if you want to learn things seriously, you can get in touch with me. My details are in the description box below. I'll probably add it somewhere on the screen. You'll definitely see it if it's on the screen. And yeah, email me, WhatsApp me, call me, and I'll give you the details and we'll work things out. So yeah, finally, now that that's aside, quick summary. So dominant 7 flat 9 chords contain diminished 7th chords built within them, right? The diminished 7th chord have 4 inversions. They're symmetrical. They are also substitutes of that particular dominant 7, and you can also create multiple dominant 7 resolutions from them, right? And you can also use those dominant 7s to resolve to the same target chord pretty much that you were using for the original dominant 7 chord. Okay, so yeah, that is it for today's video. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this was useful, and I will see you in another video later on. Bye.